We've Reverend McElroy from Friendship Baptist Church. Would you like us seated, standing? What would you like?
Will we stand?
Stand would be fun for those.
Let us pray. Oh God, we ask of you that as a people favored, we may hold our liberty in high esteem because you have not dealt so with every nation. We thank you for this wonderful country in which we are privileged to live. Inspire all of our citizenry to hold sacred this glorious heritage. We pray for the government of our country in these times of great peril. We pray for our community and our town leaders as they have convened to deliberate on issues and matters that are relevant and appropriate for the enhancing of our well-being. Grant unto them wisdom and sobriety of judgment in all their considerations. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Reverend, thank you very much. Reverend McElroy from Friendship Baptist Church. Today we're going to have his wife, Mrs. McElroy, come up. It's Black History Month, and we'd be remiss if we did not acknowledge that in some way. And Mrs. McElroy, if you want to take the podium, and
Tara, I turn that
Tara,
around.
turn it around the other way.
Turn that around for her.
I don't know. I'm not even looking at it.
Mr. Walters, ladies and gentlemen of our community, brief reflections on Black History Month. Black History Month is a month set aside to learn, honor, and celebrate the achievements of Black men and women throughout history. Black History Month is also celebrated in many other countries by the African diaspora. Africans, for a variety of reasons, migrated to many parts of the globe, either involuntarily or voluntarily. Since its inception, Black History Month has always been celebrated during the month of February. The origin of Black History Month can be traced back to an African-American man by the name of Carter G. Woodson, born 1875 and died in 1950. He was the son of former slaves. Carter G. Woodson was an amazing man in his own right. Since his family was too poor to send him to school, he taught himself the basics of early childhood education. At the age of 20, he was finally able to enroll in high school, and he completed his studies in just 2 years. Excuse me. He then went on to earn both a bachelor's and a master's degree from the University of Chicago. In 1912, Woodson became the second African American to earn a doctorate from Harvard University, W.E.B. Du Bois being the first. Woodson used his hard-earned education as a means to educate others. Scripture teaches that we are blessed to be a blessing, and to whom much is given, much is required. He taught both in public schools and at Howard University, a historic Black university in Washington, D.C. 3 years after earning his doctorate, Woodson made a trip that had a great impact on his life's work. In 1915, he traveled to Chicago to participate in a 3-week celebration of the 50th anniversary of the end of slavery. The excitement and enthusiasm generated by the events of this celebration inspired Woodson to continue his study of Black history. Before leaving Chicago, Woodson and 4 others created the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, known as the ASNLH. The following year, the ASNLH began publication of the Journal of Negro History. Woodson realized that most textbooks at the time ignored the history and achievements of blacks. Thus, in addition to the journal, he wanted to find a way to encourage interest and the study of black history as a part of the general educational curriculum. In 1926, Woodson promoted the idea of a Negro History Week, which would be held during the second week of February. Woodson chose the second week of February to celebrate Negro History Week because that week included the birthdays of two iconic men, namely President Abraham Lincoln, who signed the Emancipation Proclamation, and Frederick Douglass, a runaway slave, who later established himself as a fierce abolitionist, newspaper editor, lecturer, and with great oratory skills, an activist for women's rights, and an advisor to President Lincoln. Negro History Week evolved into Black History Month in 1976. Black History Month brings attention to the fact that the history of Black Americans is an integral part of the history of the United States. Black History Month celebrates the accomplishments and contributions of African Americans in the fields of medicine, law, science, education, and history. Black History Month celebrates Black inventors and explorers. It also celebrates Black culture in the areas of art, dance, literature, and music. Over the years, Black History Month has recognized and honored the role of labor and political movements such as Pan-Africanism, Black Power, Garveyism, the right to self-defense, and Black nationalism. Black History Month also commemorates Black economic and civic organizations such as the NAACP. Additionally, the month celebrates religious institutions as well as Blacks in sports. Recognition is also given to the fact that Blacks have fought in every major United States war, to include the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, and the Civil War. The election of President Barack Obama represents the latest chapter in African American achievement. However, it should be noted that for a brief period of time between 1867 and 1877, when the emancipation of Blacks during the Reconstruction era guaranteed ex-slave citizenship status and the right to vote, Black men became politically active, holding 16 seats in Congress and 600 seats in state legislatures. However, a violent racist white backlash ended this progressive era. 100 years of Jim Crow laws, which legalized discrimination and segregation based on color, including acts of terror against Blacks, followed. Black people are a global people. Their history started in Africa, where the civilization of humankind began, along with science, math, religion, and the written word. Unfortunately, with accumulated documentation of accomplishments and contributions to the overall history of the world and the United States in particular, the public school system of the United States still resists the full inclusion of Black history in the curriculum of American and world history beyond a cursive recognition of a 1-month set-aside. We've come a long way, but we still have a distance to go. I would like to thank Supervisor Sean Walter for inviting me and availing this forum for a brief presentation of Black history, which is in fact an integral part of American history, for America is a mosaic of many cultures. That is our uniqueness as a nation. In closing, I would like to read a poem by Langston Hughes, poet, playwright, and novelist, who is identified with the Harlem Renaissance era. The poem is entitled, I Too Sing America. I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow, I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody will dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I, too, am America. Thank you.
I really appreciate you folks coming out and giving us that presentation. Yeah, it was wonderful. Okay, now on to the more mundane.
Okay. Can I make a motion to approve the minutes of the February 1st, 2011 meeting? So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
The minutes are approved.
Correspondence.
Under correspondence, there was a letter from Gordian Racky, Renewable Energy Long Island, a letter submitted February 4th supporting the proposed wind turbine at Riverhead Town Sewage Treatment Plant. There was also 19 additional signatures on a petition addressing the concerns of the commercial development in Wading River. Under applications, there was a special permit submitted by Chernoff Realty for the construction of a medical office building at Main Road, Acapulco. Under reports, tax receiver, total tax collection dated February 7th, $63,909,047.07. Total utility collections for January, $587,120.33. Town clerk monthly report for January, $7,184.35. The building department submitted their monthly report for 2011. Police department submitted their monthly report for January, and also their annual report for 2010. And that's it.
Okay. Does anybody on the town board have any committee reports?
I went to a wind seminar that the county put together with other elected officials from towns, and they would like to have the next one here in Riverhead. It was very informative. They're trying to put together a uniform wind code for all of Suffolk County as a base, and then the towns can expand onto that. So I thought that was interesting, seeing as we have our public hearing. Yes.
I just want to say, I don't really have a report, but this past Saturday night was the Riverhead Rec Department ran the first father-daughter dance, and everybody knows me knows I have a 6-year-old daughter, and it was an excellent, excellent time. There was over 100 people there with their daughters, and for a first-time event, it was just, I got to give kudos to Riverhead Recreation Department. Anybody in the community who doesn't take advantage of the programs they have is phenomenal. So it's just a good time. I just want to give them some heads up.
I concur. I just want to acknowledge the passing of William Kasparovich. He passed last week, and if some of the older people in town hall or the people that have been around a while coming to the town board meetings know that Bill used to come on a regular basis with his tape recorder. And he always had something interesting to say to the town board, and he'd put it up on the podium. I guess he just assumed that if he didn't get it on the recording, maybe the town somehow would change.
Ahead of his time.
Probably right. Ahead of his time, that's right.
Ahead of his time.
He passed away, and I'm not going to ask anybody to stand or anything, but I'd like to just have a moment of silence for him. Mr. Kasparovich was buried today, and I thank you for the time. Okay. We have a public hearing. There's a couple resolutions that I think we're going to table today, and we'll talk to you as we go through them if there's some people that want to talk about them. And but the first thing is a public hearing. The first public hearing, the only public hearing for tonight, is a consideration of the construction of a wind turbine energy generation facility at River Avenue wastewater treatment facility site. Excuse me, the public hearing was scheduled to start at 7:05, 7:05 having arrived. We will open the public hearing. We're going to take comment on anything that relates to this. I just want to let everybody know this public hearing formally is for the bonds, for us to issue bonds, but you're free to speak about the wind turbine in general, and we look forward to hearing from you. Yes, we have to swear you in. Diane? Oh, I'm sorry, Bob.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Peter, just your name and...
Peter Rusi.
Okay.
Supervisor Walter and members of the board. The Riverhead Sewer District is proposing the installation of a 750 kilowatt wind turbine at the sewage treatment plant on Riverside Drive. The total cost to procure and install this machine will not exceed $1.8 million. This cost would include the town's procurement of a suitable turbine, construction and erection of machine to operational status. A feasibility study was conducted in 2010 which investigated economic, logistic, and operational aspects of placing a turbine at the sewer district facility. This study showed that the performance of the turbine would be beneficial to the town and would provide minimal adverse impacts to the town and its residents. Based on analysis to date of wind resource and project costs, the operational payback period of this machine will be approximately 11 years. Further, electricity produced by this turbine is expected to result in a net decrease in tax rate during year 7 of the wind turbine operation, and savings to the town of Riverhead from this project is estimated at $5 million for the life of this project, which is expected at 25 years. The wind turbine would be located toward the southwest portion of the sewer district property, which is indicated in a green circle in the diagram at the front of the room. That portion of the property is not envisioned to have any other use in the future. On-site measurement of the wind resource began in August of last year and will continue through the second quarter of 2011. And the first 6 months of wind measurement tell us that there is a good business case for this project. As I mentioned, we foresee a maximum total budget for construction of $1.8 million and a bond payment expected at $181,000 for the bond period. This project will significantly reduce the cost of electrical energy used by the sewer district, and in the early years it'll save in excess of $200,000. By the time the project is finished, we expect savings per year in excess of $500,000 a year to the town of Riverhead. In the last meeting I had with the town board, I informed you that we expected tax increase in year 1 and year 2 at 45 and 41 cents per $1,000 of assessed value. Based on the meeting, Supervisor Walter, that you put together today with LIPA, we've revised our calculations, and due to the net metering commitment we believe LIPA will make, we've now down forecasted those numbers and now expect that 45 cents to be 25 cents and the 41 to be 21 cents, thereby halving the tax increase expected.
Can you just let us know, what does that mean to an average person assessed at $50,000?
That means in year 1, we would expect a $12.50 increase on the sewer district tax. In year 2, a $10.50 increase. By year 5, I'm sorry, by year 7, we would have a tax positive impact for the residents. By year 10, we would have a $25 reduction, I'm sorry, a $12.50 reduction. And by the end of the project in the out years, the tax relief to the citizens will exceed $100 per year due to the savings.
Not too shabby.
And those are the comments that I've prepared for this. Thank you.
Okay, Michael, do you want to add anything to this?
Just here to help field any questions that might be necessary.
Okay, just in the sense of full disclosure to the town board, because this meeting was kind of put together at the last minute at the end of last week, we met with LIPA, several individuals from LIPA to talk about net metering, and there were new changes to the state law at the end of December. And it turns out that we will be able to take the benefit of what they call net metering, which has resulted in this tax assessment decrease of almost 50%. Not only that, LIPA was very interested in the project, and we think we're going to be hearing some other things that are going to be very, very beneficial to the town on this. I think they're very excited about this because this will be one of the largest, if not the largest, commercial generator on Long Island. So the data we get from this, they want to be part of this, and they have indicated that they're willing to do something to be part of this. And what that something is, we don't know. We just going to continue to hope that it's good.
Monetary.
You said.
That's it.
So the meeting was very productive. We're also going to meet with NIPA just to talk to them about this. But I think the meeting today, we saved 50% in one meeting, and I think, who knows, we might be, maybe at some point there'll be, it'll pay itself back in even less than 7 years. So that's what was discussed in a rather long meeting. Mike, do you want to add anything to that? It looked like you were.
Yeah, I'm sorry. One thing
Michael
that
Reichel, our sewer, we should swear Michael in too.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
I do.
And your name for the record?
Michael Reichel. One thing that we forgot to put in and mention in the report, we did apply for funding through the Green Grant Program back in November, and they're looking to do the process of selection during the month of February, so we should hear something in March. Maximum amount for that grant is about $450,000. So if that ends up coming through, which you don't count your chickens before they hatch, this could actually break even and not cost anything.
What's amazing about this facility, just from my perspective, some of you have emailed about this. In the beginning, I was very skeptical, but when we brought Mr. Russi and his company in, and then we checked it with LIPA, and we've been through this in a couple different fashions, I can't find any reason why we wouldn't do this, and maybe some of the residents may speak differently about it, but why it makes sense at the sewage treatment plant is we will use virtually 100% of this power that's generated, and just every aspect of it seems to make sense. And there was a gentleman, I won't release his name, but we did ask some of these questions, and he might be here today to ask these questions, but we were pretty satisfied. I think the board's pretty satisfied as to what we've heard so far. So without further ado, would anybody else like to be heard on this subject? Yes, sir. Step up and state your name.
My name is Daniel Carpen, K-A-R-P-E-N. I reside.
We have to swear you in, sir.
Okay. Raise your right hand and state after me. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
My name is Daniel Carpen, K-A-R-P-E-N. I'm a licensed professional engineer. I reside at 3 Harbor Hill Drive, Huntington, New York. I've been doing energy conservation engineering for the last 30 years. I just completed a wind energy study for the Salmon River School District through an architectural firm. The Salmon River School District is located near the Canadian border and I've also mentored a high school student who did a wind energy project for his school district in Peekskill. This project, I believe, needs to be really looked at because the machine that's chosen may not be the most efficient machine in terms of generating electricity. That doesn't mean the project shouldn't go forward. I'd like to get a copy of the report and review it and read it through.
Absolutely. Mike, do we have any here?
We have them, town clerk's office has them, and we can get it to you electronically.
Okay. If you provide that gentleman, don't do it over the TV, but provide that gentleman with your email address before you leave, we'll send it to you. I'd love to have your input.
Okay. Now I'm going to throw a big one out for you. The 3,200 acres at Calverton, for which the debate for the last 20 years what to do with it. My suggestion is to create a wind energy park, put in 3 megawatt machines on 390-foot towers, space them about a quarter mile to a half mile apart, generate enough electricity to supply the entire town of Riverhead with power, everyone in the town. What we'll do is we will rent the electric lines from LIPA to wheel the power from the wind turbine park at Calverton to all the residents. Once the turbines are paid for, essentially the town will have electricity at about a quarter of the cost it's presently paying. I suggest that we move in this direction, eliminate any possibility of commercial, industrial, residential development of a 3,200 acres Calverton. I don't think you'll have any objection from the environmentalists if you don't put any buildings there. Remember, the word is banana. Build absolutely nothing anywhere near anything. Too bad I didn't bring a real banana with me.
You got the image.
We would need to
Build absolutely
build
nothing.
absolutely nothing anywhere near anything. Nope, not on planet Earth. Nope, not over there either.
Okay.
Okay.
What needs to be done is a careful study to figure out where to put the wind turbines on the Calverton property so that you avoid wetlands, avoid nesting owls, without building excessive roads or any sort of infrastructure, because the infrastructure costs can increase the cost of project 25 to 50%, as I'm discovering. With Salmon River, we were very lucky. There was a transmission line 250 feet from the wind turbine. With this project, they're going to have to cut down a few trees. They're going to have to run a line out to the grid. But I think we ought to really take a hard look at a major project to be done over the next 10 years to fund this, to figure out how much electricity everybody in town uses, and do it.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We appreciate it. Would anybody else like to be heard on this matter? Yes, sir. Just state your name and raise your right hand so we can swear you in, sir, and where you're from.
Yeah, I'm Izzy Dorosky. I'm a resident of Riverhead. I'm also chairman of the Riverhead Town Energy Advisory Committee. And we really haven't had a chance to look
I'm going
over
to
the
stop
facts
you.
on this yet.
Izzy,
Oh.
just ask you to raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I'm going to shorten it down.
The Energy Committee really hasn't had a chance to review this proposal in any detail, but I would have to say, talking with Phil, who's been a longtime member, and just knowing the position of the other members, that we would support something like this. You know that Riverhead Town does have a wind code, so we'd have to find out how this would relate, because it does deal with some restrictions. But we would definitely support alternate energy in the town of Riverhead. And the country has a real bad energy problem coming in the future. And we're going to have to take some steps in the future. And we're all going to have to sacrifice a bit, because it looks like, you know, the production of oil in the world is reaching a maximum point of production and going into a decline. And this is going to be a real tough event for for the citizens of this nation and the town to deal with. So we're going to have to start taking some measures, and lots of measures. We're going to have to look at alternate energy. I mean, this is one aspect of energy. It's electricity. And the country also has a liquid fuels problem because we run on oil. You can't fly a plane on electricity. So, but I just wanted to comment that our committee supports alternate energy. And I have seven solar systems on my house. I've had the first one since 1981. So I just want to say we would support something like this. And
Get
by
your
the way,
copy of the report too.
I gave you a copy of the initial report about a year ago,
okay.
and at one of the Energy Committee meetings, but I didn't give you a copy of the findings that they came up after the temporary pole was installed to actually come up with these figures that they've presented to us today. So I'll get you a
Yeah,
copy
I guess
of
we
that.
could discuss it at the next meeting. I think it's going to be about a week.
Yeah.
So we'll look it over and everything. And but I just wanted to comment that it looks very interesting, and Riverhead Town should be taking a lot of steps in the future to get into alternate energy
Yes.
and conservation. That's about it.
Yes, thank you. Anything else like to be heard today?
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And your name for the record?
Pamela Hogriff, and I live on Riverside Drive. I have more questions than comments. Mr. Reichel? Where is this in relationship to River Avenue?
This is River Avenue here,
Okay, so
Riverside Drive, over down
how the feet from River Avenue, basically from the red line there to River Avenue is about approximately how many feet?
From here to River
Yeah.
Avenue, probably 800 feet.
Okay, thank you. And why did you choose it there where you have a mass of
Could
trees?
you speak into the
can you go
microphone?
back to
because
the
it's
podium?
I thought everybody could hear me.
No, well, the camera can't.
Why did you choose that section versus maybe the other side where there's less? You're going for wind, so trees get in the way of wind, correct?
Right.
So why would you have chose that section versus perhaps in the rear?
Okay, we looked at 2 locations, and one was in the rear, which is at the top left of the picture.
Okay.
And the other location was where we sited it, where the green circle is. We found that that was the best location because of the layout of the site, where the transformers come in. We get just, the elevations are exactly the same. So either way, you're going to have to go above the tree line. So this is clearly out of the way. It doesn't impede on any of the wetlands and the stable soil conditions.
And I was also curious about, my understanding is the height is 185 feet.
The center of the hub is going to be 180 feet,
Okay.
okay? And the top of the rotor, when it's then in its highest position, should be 275 feet.
Okay, I have locust trees on my properties. The tallest locust trees I have are about 80 feet, so I could basically triple that. A little bit, and
I don't know
plus.
how tall your trees are.
Well, 80 feet. Locust trees are pretty big.
The math works.
I'm just trying to get a perspective of what it's going to look like. And I'd like to know what you mentioned. I had read something about the decibel level of noise. Can you comment on that, what it will sound like?
These guys are the experts.
Okay.
You're not going to see it from your house?
I'm
And you're not going to hear it from your house.
I am merely asking questions.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Hi.
Let me talk to this thing, talk to you.
Yeah, I'll stand over
The,
there.
the height of, the expected height of about 275 feet will, in great likelihood not be seen by the residents of Riverside Drive. And this machine, in
Can I ask you
actuality,
to speak into the
Yes,
microphone because we're not going to
sure,
catch that?
sure.
I'm sorry.
The machine will very likely not be seen by the residents of Riverside Drive, and it's pretty likely that from the town itself, the machine won't be very visible. It will be visible from long distances. We will see it from Sound Avenue, but I would doubt that you would see it because of the trees and because of the location of the surrounding tree line. Regarding noise, the town ordinance for decibel level is 50 decibels. The machine that we've recommended at this point in our analysis is a 48 decibel machine at ground level directly under the machine, and that noise will be abated by the surrounding tree line, wind noise from trees and other ambient noise in the neighborhood. So
But to a novice,
You have to stand,
I
miss,
can't-
miss, you have to,
Oh, my
you
God.
you
Yeah,
speak
the
into the
microphone.
microphone and you're speaking to us.
I'm a novice, so I don't know what 48 decibels sounds like. I do know
We can tell you.
that when I'm downtown and I have my windows open and somebody's got their boombox going, I find that offensive. Is that more than 48 decibels?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So it will be tolerable.
you probably will not hear it.
Do
Good,
we have
okay.
any?
That's very
um,
nice.
I know in the past, and I'm not going to try to mention them, but I know there are examples of what 50 decibels sounds like. Do we have, are we prepared to give any indication as to what 50 decibels is?
It would probably be worthwhile to go to the machine in Laurel and to stand next to that machine, and then to move away from that machine.
And is that on Saturday?
Private property, though.
It is on private property, I'm sorry.
I don't think that he would mind, though.
Yeah, I think
The-
that would
we could
that
call
would
him.
reasonably represent the sound level here. Well, that is an open space.
That's a totally different size machine.
Yeah, I know that.
So that the Northwind machine is actually a quite quiet machine, where the 7
Okay, we're not accepting comments from the back. If you want to speak, you have to come up to the podium. All right.
no comparison.
Just a few more clarifications, please. When I first
You're-
read about this, I
Mrs.
thought it.
Holgraf, correct?
When I first read about this, I thought this had something to do with the sewer department. So, but I'm understanding that in fact it has nothing to do with sewer. It has to do with energy only, which will affect the LIPA.
No, it has everything to do with the sewer. The current the design will generate about 40% of our current sewer district's electricity usage. And that's how it's paid back. In other words, the time frame to pay it back is 11 or 7 years, and I'll let you speak to what the difference is. But we're going to be saving money. The bond money is front-loaded, but as we generate the electricity, Mr. Ursi, you should explain this.
I will do that.
But it is 40% of the current sewer district's usage. When the sewer plant is upgraded, which New York State DEC is requiring, it'll provide about 20% of the current usage to the sewer plant. So that's where it is. It is completely to be used for the sewer plant, not to LIPA.
Okay. The understanding is the residents in the sewer district alone will pay for the 1.8 bond.
Correct. And if, and an average assessed home of 50,000, I think you gave a number of $12.50.
Extra. Yep.
And in 7 years, you're actually going to receive, was it 25? You're going to actually be receiving money back. That's correct. In the form of savings.
Okay. Now you mentioned something about the sewer district expanding, Michael?
The sewer,
Upgrade.
the sewer district has to be upgraded.
Upgraded or
By the-
expanded?
Well, not both. The New York State DEC is requiring that the sewer plant be upgraded. The capacity, we have a capacity now under permit, and I don't think we're really expanding the permitted capacity, but it is an expansion in the type of treatment. We're going to be more efficient, treat the waste better, and that's governed by the New York State DEC.
So you've said we're not expanding. My
Michael,
question is,
I'm-
if we expand,
Let Mr. Reichel explain.
What happened was New York State DEC, they changed our state pollutant discharge permit. They made the restrictions tighter on nitrogen loading going into the Peconic. So that means that we have to upgrade the treatment plant, install additional equipment to make the water cleaner before it gets discharged. We're required to do that by DEC. So within the next 2 years, probably in 2 years, we're going to upgrade the treatment plant for better treatment. And it's going to cost a lot of money, and it's going to be very energy intense. And this is also going to work into that to where it's going to be even more useful, because the electric rates are going to increase because we're going to use that much more electricity. So this is going to help offset that even more and be a bigger benefit at that point. Okay?
I don't think I have any other questions.
Okay, thank you. Would anybody else like to be heard on this matter? Sir, let's wait till somebody else. Yes. Just raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And your name, please?
Tara Bono.
Tara, where are you from?
With Citizens Campaign for the Environment.
Okay.
Citizens Campaign for the Environment, for those of you who don't know, is an 80,000-member nonprofit, nonpartisan advocacy organization that empowers communities and advocates solutions to protect public health and the natural environment of our region. Thank you again for the opportunity to provide testimony today. CCE strongly supports increased investment and development of clean, renewable energy, and in particular, wind energy. As most of us already know, the consumption of energy generated by fossil fuels and nuclear power has serious impacts on human health, water resources, wildlife, and our natural environment. The long list of detrimental consequences from our reliance on fossil fuel combustion include, but are not limited to, acid rain, urban smog, higher rates of lung disease and heart failure, oil spills, contaminated drinking water, rising sea levels, and the list goes on. Every wind turbine that goes up is another step towards a renewable and independent energy future. Electric costs for our island sewage treatment facilities are extremely high. We applaud the town of Riverhead in taking this proactive step towards finding renewable energy sources to reduce energy costs at their wastewater treatment plant. A project that pays for itself in just 7 years with a 40% cut in energy consumption is enormous, especially on Long Island, where residents pay some of the highest utility rates in the country. In general, CCE strongly supports of wind power for the following reasons. Wind power is emission-free. Wind power does not require a destructive cooling process. This is especially important on Long Island. Long Island has 5 National Grid fossil fuel plants that kill billions of fish eggs and fish larvae every year with their cooling intake process in impingement and entrapment. Increased use of wind power will reduce demand on these types of antiquated power plants and thereby help fish stocks recover. Wind power, the second reason is wind power is homegrown fuel. Once construction, these facilities require no fossil fuel. This reduces our dependence on imported oil and gas, much of which comes from unstable parts of the world. Third, wind power keeps energy dollars at home. Buying coal, oil, and gas sends New York dollars out of state and out of the country. In contrast, wind power provides energy independence, keeps our energy dollars local and working for us. Investment in wind power can boost our region's growing renewable energy technologies. Fourth, wind power helps stabilize energy prices. By diversifying the ways that we produce electricity on Long Island, wind power can help stabilize these high energy costs. Even a small drop in the demand for natural gas, for example, would bring down the price. This results in more price stability and lower overall energy costs. Of course, we know that wind proposals must be carefully reviewed and cited. renewable energy projects, like any other form of electricity, must go through an environmental review process and be carefully cited. We must ensure that these wind facilities are sited in a way that minimizes any impacts on neighborhoods and wildlife populations. However, any review does need to consider the adverse impacts of continuing to rely on fossil fuel consumption. Impacts can only be viewed in a meaningful perspective when they are compared to an equal amount of power generated from existing energy infrastructure. In closing, wind power offers insurmountable economic and environmental benefits to the local community, the region, our state, and the nation. CCE strongly supports this proposal and congratulates the town on their forward-thinking and responsible planning. Thank you for the opportunity to comment.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard on this subject? Yes, gentleman in the back.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And your name, please.
Remy Bell, Riverside Drive. As a resident who actually is be impacted, if you want to use that word, which I don't think is an impact, living near the facility you're proposing, I commend the town board. I commend Mike Reichel for taking the lead on this and trying to find renewable ways of energy to lower the town's cost and to really get in the forefront of the problem we have here in America, that we need to do other sources of energy. And I'm really, really glad the town's doing something. And I think the cost, when you mentioned the cost, how it's going to pay us back over time, I think that's great. And I wish you had more projects like this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, I'm going to let other people speak first.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And your name, please, for the record.
Jim Foster from Wading River. I just want to bring one thing. We mentioned here a couple of times that we're looking at saving money over the long term of the project. I think people may look at this project 20 years from now, okay, and I'll probably say something like, where's the money? And the reason why I bring this up is what we do face right now that nobody really has accounted for, I'm certain of it, is inflation. As inflation goes up, the price of our current usage of oil and things of that nature, they increase. But keep in mind that today's project is measured in today's dollars. Tomorrow, it might be slightly different. Keeping an eye on inflation and how much it impacts the overall cost of the project is something that you might want to take into account before you put out any final numbers. Okay, and I would recommend a curve of increasing inflation going out, say 10 years from now, and on an increasing scale. Rather than right now we have very low inflation, at least that's what they tell us. Okay, we can't hardly see it when we look at our oil bill, okay, but when you get the final costs over the project, I'd like you to take into account rising inflation and what that might impact the overall thing, so that people don't get the idea that somewhere down 20 years down the line, we were supposed to save X number of dollars, and it was only this. Well, that was because of increased inflation. And if we put that into the projections, you'll probably get a more honest assessment of what the cost might be. That's all I wanted to bring up.
Actually, I was thinking as you were saying that, it's interesting. I apologize for texting because I'm texting my department heads to ask a question. But here's when you said that, Mr. Foster, I'm thinking that the numbers would be better because LIPA's generation rates are going to increase, probably outpacing inflation. And one of the things that I just asked Rick Hanley whether we have to do a secret determination, and we do. That was Ms. Bono. You triggered that in my mind, so we do have to do that. So there will be some sort of a secret analysis and determination made of this.
I think they did it.
I'm sure there'll be ongoing maintenance on the facilities, okay? And if the numbers are, if your project numbers are inside, say, the overall budget for the sewer department, other costs might rise, and they may mitigate the savings that you may have made by putting out this project. So I'm not just talking about just LIPA's rate. Now, hopefully LIPA rate will go up and we'll get more money back. But
I'm not.
I'm not.
That happen.
I'm not. I wouldn't bank on it. So just keep that in mind. That when you look at the overall project and you're talking about an overall budget and it's inside the sewer district, other costs may hide your savings. Okay, and to keep this project in line so that you can say, well, overall this project did this. Maybe other costs made it less. So that when we're talking about tax increases or tax decreases in later on years, that may or may not be accounted for in an increasing inflation environment.
It's all based on, as we discussed today, the model. Mr. Rusi, do you want to comment on, have we looked at inflationary factors in this at all, or?
Yeah, we have. We've figured operating costs into the entire economic model for this project. I should mention that the great majority of the costs obviously are the bond cost for the procurement and installation of the equipment, and then we will have ongoing operation and maintenance costs. We have used high O&M costs in our modeling, and we've used a 2.5% inflation rate on that for the 25-year duration of the life of the machine. We've also used a 5% figure for LIPA's year-over-year energy cost increase. In fact, the sewer district has experienced 7.5% to 8% increases. So we've purposely fudged the energy cost inflation rate down to make this project look worse than it will probably be.
Good.
But that's
We want to know the worst case scenario.
that's what you do. So as far as the initial capital incurred, the capital expense of up to 1.8, I mean that is fixed, and we've used the town's bond calculation numbers to create the $181,000 annual bond payment.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else wish to be heard? All right, sir, you want to make one more comment?
Yeah, I want to. My name is Daniel Carpenter again. Do I have to be sworn in again?
No, we were sworn in.
Two comments. One, someone asked about the maintenance on the wind turbines. Generally, the modern machines require about one servicing a year by the company that builds them. They send a technician out to maintain them. Second thing is, I find it hard to believe that your consultants come in and said, well, this wind turbine will only generate 20 to 40% of the electrical needs for the sewer plant. My feeling as an engineer is that one should go for 100% of the electrical needs, and moreover, to eliminate the demand charges, monthly billing charges, and so forth, one should have a wind turbine that will generate more electricity than needed, so you can zero out the demand charges and the monthly billing charges, because they are not net metered backwards.
I think that they did look at that, and the real issue is when you do the calculations with the wind speeds, and the anemometer is not giving us the data that shows we could ever be capable of doing that.
Then you'd have to go to a 3 megawatt machine instead of a 750 kilowatt machine. That's what you're going to have to do. The study's a good one. They did a beautiful report, but if you want to totally eliminate the electric bill as a component of the operation of the sewer district, you're going to have to go probably to a 3 megawatt machine.
Thank you, sir. Does anybody else wish to be heard on this matter?
I just have one question for Mr. Rossi. Mr. Rossi, I've just a couple questions I'd like to ask you. You said it's 48 decimals standing underneath the wind turbine.
That's correct.
There's a house maybe 100 foot away, and a couple more houses 250 feet away. Would you know what the decimal point for those houses would be from other wind turbines that you have?
We don't know exactly what that number would be. we do not. It would, unless you have something.
Raise your right hand.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And your name, please.
Adam McCulloch. I'll spell it for you later if you want.
We'll probably need it now.
In this study,
MC, no, we're going with that spelling out of MC, MA?
it's MCC
Okay.
ULL OUGH.
Got it.
Thank
you.
you. What color? It's easy. ADA.
In this report, which is available in this building as I understand it, there is a treatment of noise propagation from the wind turbine model, which is top of our eligibility list at this point from the analysis that we've done. And that, this is noise propagation is a very difficult thing to model, and so we have been conservative. We haven't modeled attenuation due to trees in between the receptor, the house or whatever that you're concerned about where the sound level is, and the machine generating the sound. So it's not it's not 100%, it's not going to be 100% accurate and true to life analysis, but it's on the conservative side, so it will overestimate the sound level.
Do we have a at property line
Yeah, we do. So
decibel reading estimate? And at property line means different things to different people, because I guess, Michael, at property line on River Road is a little bit further than at property line where.
yeah, we did work this out to the nearest property line. Okay, so here's what came out of the analysis. This is the wind turbine model that we're mainly discussing here. Obviously, this project will have to go out to bid, but this is what we're working off at the minute. Using the information supplied by the manufacturer, the sound pressure level at the nearest residential property is 48 decibels A-weighted, which is the weighting that corresponds to generally people's ability to perceive sound. So this is, in terms of a noise nuisance, that's the weighting that you use. And then the sound pressure level closer to the base of the wind turbine is up to 55 dB A-weighted.
So at the property line, and the code is 50, at the property line, it would be 48 is what you're saying. Okay. So
And it will be
within our
less than
code.
that at the nearest property, although I don't have that figure in the report. I can
Okay.
furnish that if you want.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to follow up what John said about the noise level. Now, you mentioned the facility out in Laurel. How does that compare noise-wise,
Well,
would you say?
We haven't actually measured that, and we heard a comment.
No, no,
that-
what about the size of it? Is it this bigger?
Yes, this is a bigger machine.
Okay, because at that model, you get about 400 foot away, and you can hear that swish, swish, swish.
Can hear it. Okay.
So if you're looking for a line, and that's with the wind kind of blowing away.
Okay.
So I'm thinking 400, you're probably safe at 500 feet. Anything close, you're going to hear that.
Okay. There aren't any trees around that
No,
machine.
it's wide open.
It's wide open.
It is wide open,
It's wide
but
open.
like you understand, it's really the leaves on the trees that block it, and the winter
Yeah.
there are no leaves.
Yeah,
So
it
it's,
is.
it doesn't, it's not a big factor in the winter. As big.
Do you want to address that? How much of a factor it might be with that trees on the leaves on the trees?
Attenuation due to vegetation in between the generator and the receptor is significant, but it's difficult to model, and it varies throughout the year. In the
Yeah,
summer,
obviously, yeah.
maybe more than in the winter.
And,
So it's not something that we typically include in the models. To give you an idea, 40 decibels is definitely audible. 30 decibels is kind of background noise level in a quiet room during the day. Ish. Depends on the location, but that gives you an idea.
I know my weed whacker says 78 decibels, that's all I know.
I know,
Put that on your window, would you?
my
That's a lot
question,
noisier.
my question goes back, because we have these 18-wheel trucks going up town roads, and they're keeping people awake in their houses, and I'm all for wind energy, and I'm all for this, but I just want to do a devil's advocate here, because people that live close to that are going to hear this and they're going to stay up at night. We're going to get phone calls. I know that. I really think that we're also going to get people going to say that we're devaluing their property because this turbine is next to their property. So, have any real estate people come out or look at this and what the houses that are near this? What's going to happen to those?
I can't. We haven't commissioned a real estate valuation studies.
No, I'm just.
How many feet is the closest house?
100.
No, I don't think it's 100 feet. I think it's further.
No, it's right down the block from us.
Mike, just what's your best guesstimate of the closest house?
Closest house is about 1,000 feet away.
What the one that's on your street that when you make the left turn?
Yeah, if you look at the
You said it's only 300 foot to River Road.
No, I said it was 800 feet.
800 feet, okay.
Okay, and that would be from that guy's house to Riverside Drive. It's probably 1,000 feet or better from the location of the base of the wind turbine to the closest residential house.
So that house on your street?
On River Avenue, yep.
Okay.
That's down our hole too, so that's
Right.
even more protected.
Plus, there's trees all the
Okay,
way around.
all right, I'm just,
Somebody just texted me and said, marvels of modern science. Is it a refrigerator, whoever texted me? The sound of a refrigerator, 48 decibels, does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't want to make a judgment.
Right, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
The noise issue is
Maybe
only
your
when it's going to be running. It's not going to be running if the wind's not blowing. So when the wind blows, you have other noises caused by the wind, the rustling of trees, leaves, the wind passing your ear. I went to Atlantic City to see a treatment plant that has 5 1.5 megawatt turbines on their property. And I stood underneath it, and as it was blowing, and it was at top speed, it was very slow, because the larger they are, the slower they turn. And you couldn't hear it at all. The wind shifted the direction a little bit, and you can hear it a little bit. It's like a whisper as it passes. But that was it. There was no loud winding or anything like that. It was very quiet.
thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard? Yes, Miss.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
So help me God, yes.
Okay, very good. And your name for the record?
Susan Fraunhofer. I live on Corwell Avenue off Riverside Drive. And I brought the issue up earlier before the meeting even started with these gentlemen. There is a windmill across the river, and when it goes in certain directions, our house, you can hear it, and it actually vibrates the windows. And we asked them about it, and they said, you probably wouldn't be the same because it's an older model. But as I'm listening here to say 48 decibels, well, it won't be very much. But I don't know about everyone else, but when you get a constant sound, I don't care how low it is. It's kind of like your refrigerator and stuff. When the power goes out, you say, oh, my God, I didn't realize how much noise there was. But when you have something that if someone is in their house and says, I can just see someone saying, well, close your windows and you won't hear it. In the summertime when people are living with their windows open, I don't care how, well, it's not too much noise, it's tolerable. Well, yeah, I accept the highway noise during the daytime, but at night when you want to sleep and you have a grating noise that's constant 24/7 except for when the wind blows, it might not be acceptable after a while, and that has to be considered. I mean, like I said, the one across the river, when the wind turns in a certain direction, you can hear it. It's a woo, woo, and our windows actually vibrate from the windmill that's across the river. Now, this one's going to be even bigger. They said it shouldn't go around as fast, but I think it should be looked into what 48 decibels is. I mean, you weed whacker. That's why we have noise ordinances that you don't do it late
it's a
at
lot
night.
louder. I shouldn't. It was a bad excuse. A bad
yeah, but
example.
you still wouldn't want to hear it 24/7. You still wouldn't want to hear it 24/7, and those kind of things, like when you're living in your house, that's why we have noise ordinances, because people really don't want to listen to it while they're trying to sleep and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I'm all for alternate energy sources because really, LIPA's bills are through the roof, and any way we can save is great, but I think everything should be checked out to make sure
Right.
that it will be acceptable.
Well,
Thank you.
this, the process of construction here is going to have to be looked at from an environmental review. And it may be that short environmental impacts, or short environmental assessment form is provided. We may have to do, Michael, and we haven't really spoken about this, but we may have to do some noise studies in a short EAF. Rick, would you think this would be something we would do under a short EAF? Long form? But we could do a noise survey, because I think that may be something that we have to take into consideration. And that's why I texted him to come over to the corner.
Sean, there was a short form done, and there was a negative declaration.
That was
on
for
findings.
the,
For the wind
Yeah,
turbine
they
itself.
studied the birds,
that's-
they studied everything, I thought.
Right.
Joe Hall said, right?
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, I am looking at this, and my interpretation of this is the short form is for the bonding, not necessarily the construction.
No,
But
it's
we'll
for the-
look at it.
Yeah, it's for the construction.
Yes.
We might not accept it.
Okay.
Anybody else wish to be heard? Okay, I'm going to close out the public comment portion and leave it open for written comment to Friday, February 25th at 4:30 p.m. in the Riverhead Town Clerk's office. And thank you very much. I appreciate it, Mike.
We'll be in the lobby for anybody who has any questions, who didn't want to come up to the podium to ask.
Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate it. Okay, we're going to go into the resolution portion of the meeting. Is there anybody that would like to be heard on just the resolutions?
Sal Mastropolo, Calverton.
Good evening, Sal.
How you doing?
Good.
114. Should there be a statement in that resolution that the costs are going to be recovered from the developer?
It gets recovered through
Taxes. There's another resolution here too, for the taxes.
Dan McCormick, I'll have you.
Resolution 106. No, wait, yes. That's the budget adoption, that's not it. Right, hold on.
We have our town attorney here, so he worked on it.
There is another one somewhere. Where is it?
Yeah, Sal, it's
Should
gonna
there
be
be a
put on their
statement in here
taxes.
that the costs are going to
That's
be
how we're
recovered
gonna
from
get
the
on that.
developer?
Yes.
Usually there's a statement that says the costs will be billed to the developer through the taxes or whatever.
Well, it's not the developer. It gets put on the tax bill.
We already, the initial resolution regarding the referral to engineering, in fact, for this demolition, did recite that language. So we already have it in the initial resolution, that it will be borne by the developer upon the cost being enacted.
All right, do you think we need to put it in the, well, this is the award. You don't think we need?
Correct.
Okay, this is the award. So it was done when we adopted, okay, understand.
Okay.
Do you understand, Sal, when we adopted the Chapter 54 after the hearing, this is the award contract to the contractor?
All right.
Award
134. Is this something that would normally go out to bid? This seems like an awful expensive DJ per hour. I'm sure you can get DJs a
It's
hell
not a
of a lot.
DJ, he's a live performer.
He's a
plays
live
guitar and-
performer?
well,
He sings, he plays
Sal,
guitar.
have you, have you
Yeah.
seen him?
He plays guitar.
Have you
He's
seen?
he's an artist. He's not a.
Okay, I'll
Have
take,
you
I'll take my
seen
comment.
the way the seniors react
You're
to?
almost old enough to go there, you know.
Mr. Paris is very well received with the seniors.
Okay, one other question. Is there a minimum number of hours? Or is it just straight hourly?
I think it's straight hourly. He's called in as needed.
Okay.
Just once a month, I think.
135.
Judy, do you have, he's as needed, right? Yes, yes.
135. On the second page, the last now therefore be it resolved. Line number 5. We'll actually start on line number 4. It says,
Second page, hold on. This is on the actual agreement.
The resolution.
yeah, the resolution.
Yeah, second page resolution.
The
Now
second page, the now therefore be it
Right,
resolved.
okay.
the line that starts with 3.8% cost of living increase in an equivalent of hours. Can you explain what that means? I mean, when I read it, I get the feeling that what they're going to do is they're going to take the cost of living increase, but they're not going to work so many hours so that you save the equivalent of the increase, which means they're giving you less in actual work.
I understand the intent was to have a trade-off, and that the trade-off would be that the individuals who are going to be signing on to this agreement and providing for this will be giving up 3.8% of what they would otherwise be entitled to earn per paycheck, and that the trade-off or the what they were getting given back was 10 days of additional time, which may or may not be able to be utilized. But so they're actually going to receive a paycheck which on $100 would be a $3.8 less.
But not for the same number of hours.
No, I think
what the agreement,
because they're not working.
No, the 10 hours is something that is going to be a give back in return for the pay stub reflecting a 3.8% decrease
we
in
are
pay.
obligated to give them 3.8% under the previous administration's contract. Am I explaining? Well, we don't have it. We are obligated to give them 3.8%.
That's in the third paragraph.
Meg,
It explains it.
do you know how? Can you explain this in a way? She's our personnel director. Let's see if.
The intention is everybody is going to be docked a certain amount of hours per pay period, but we're still going to work the same amount of
Right.
hours. So in effect, we're getting paid less for doing the same amount of work. And at the end of the year, it's going to equal 10 working days, or and that comes to out roughly to be 3.8% of our salaries that we'll be giving up.
So you're giving up 10 days.
Right. But we're actually working them, but we're giving up 10 days of pay.
Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, I think when that was the amount that was determined to be the equivalent. It's as if 10 days were being given up, or 3.8% of the total salary.
I just want to make sure that if an employee is supposed to work 35 hours a week,
No, they're still going to be
for so
required.
many weeks a year, he's still going to work that many hours.
That contract provision stays the same, or that agreement with that employee, if they're in a contract, a resolution type approval, and it states that they shall work no less than 35 hours per week, or they shall work no less than 40 hours per week, they'll still be required to submit time payroll for those applicable periods for those times. It's not as if that's going to be an excused time that they don't have to work. They're still going to be required to work the same minimum work hours per week, or for
the
2
same
weeks.
number of weeks per year.
Correct.
Okay. That was my concern.
It's confusing, Sal, and there is going to be a change that I'm going to offer. It's confusing because some of this language was done by the prior administration for another lag they did, which really wasn't a lag. It seems the town used to pay people in advance. We would pay them for weeks. The work week would end. I'm not saying this right.
You paid on a Thursday, but your week didn't end until Saturday.
Till Saturday, no, Saturday or Sunday.
I think Sunday starts. Saturday.
So we paid them in advance, and so there was a lag, and some of this language is not clean, but there is something on paragraph 4 of the actual agreement that I want to be very specific. Paragraph 3 of the actual agreement. If you look at the last line of paragraph 3, it's something that I was very specific. I said to they want to tie raises to the SOA contract, and I said, the Superior Officers Association contract, and I said, we wouldn't tie raises to what they might receive in binding arbitration. If we offered the SOA 1% or 2% or whatever we offered the SOA and they refused, that's all that the department heads would receive. And I want to clean this language up. I was very clear about this with them, and because I don't want the department heads to be tied to binding arbitration. So for the town board, after where it says, that's a long run-on sentence here. We'll start from Long Island for the base period 1982-1984 equals 100, or end, I don't know why it's that way, no less than the cost of living increase and/or salary increased, and then it's going to say offered to the SOA by the town board.
And not a result of binding arbitration.
Right. I thought that was clear the last time we had a meeting. It was supposed to be changed, the last meeting we had. I guess no one changed it.
Well, it's
We're
changed,
changing
but
it
I don't
now.
know that it may, whichever is, and it'd be whichever is greater. All right, does that make sense for everybody?
Yes.
So we are taking off set forth in the SOA contract, Diane, and we're putting an offer to the SOA by the town board and not a result of binding arbitration, and then back to whichever is greater. So I want to be clear, we're not tying their contracts to binding arbitration.
Right.
And does this
Okay, well,
say-
I don't,
Oh, it's
The
just
changes you're making
2012.
now probably don't refer to the specific section that I was talking about. But
Doesn't.
just keep in mind that there were 3 resolutions in a row that had the same type of verbiage. So make sure that the changes that you're making now don't also refer to any of the other 2.
We have to do the same thing in resolution
136 and 137, and I'm not sure which ones.
36.
It's all, they're all the same. 2, and that would be the same. You have this, you have it, Diane? Resolution 136, paragraph 3. You look for that 1982-84 equals 100 and go to the following page, and where it says set forth in the SOA contract, you're going to remove that and put in offered to the SOA by the town board and not as a result of binding arbitration.
I'm all set, thanks.
All right,
Yeah, but you missed this typo, Sal.
whichever is greater, yes.
On the 3rd paragraph, 4th line, it says lay pay instead of lag pay.
Where?
I know that's a typo.
The first page, the 3rd, whereas, it's, the 4th sentence says lay pay instead of lag pay. So.
Okay, does anybody else wish to be heard on the resolutions? Nobody wishing to be heard? Let's,
hold on, hold on.
hey, George, how you doing? Sorry, I didn't see you coming up.
Good evening. My name is George Bartnick. I'm Vice President of the Norfolk Environmental Council, resident of Calverton. And I wish to read a statement in support of Resolution 139. This resolution is the resolution which would hire an outside counsel, a law firm, to pursue the litigation regarding Carr McVeigh. This is the Jamesport Manor Inn. And what I will do is I'll read a letter that was submitted to the News Review into the public record. This is in response to the court decision that was made by Judge Cohalan. The court decisions concerning land use recently reported by the News Review require response by the Norfolk Environmental Council. The New York State Supreme Court determination in question basically undermines the town of Riverhead's independence and ability to enforce its own zoning regulations. The News Review article of January 6 reported the determinations of Supreme Court Judge Peter Cohalan requires that the town must reverse its position to dismiss the application by the Jamesport Manor Inn to expand its operation to include catering. In this article, Supervisor Sean Walter is quoted as saying that Riverhead has, quote, no choice but to appeal the Supreme Court decision. It doesn't make for good law or good precedent. It needs to be appealed, unquote. A follow-up article on the matter that was printed in the News Review of January 20th implies that even though the town has filed a notice of appeal, the court's verdict, the town board may not actually proceed with the appeal. The North Fork Environmental Council believes that the town of Riverhead has an obligation and a responsibility to follow through with an appeal in order to defend its ability to enforce its zoning regulations and to protect the quality of life for Riverhead's residents and those that those zoning regulations were crafted for. The court determined that the catering is a, quote, permitted incidental and customary accessory use to the permitted restaurant, unquote, and that not allowing this expansion of commercialism in the town's agricultural protection use zone would result in a financial hardship for the owners of the restaurant. However, finding that the proposed catering facility does not change the basic nature of the use of the property to us is, to use Judge Cohalan's own words, an arbitrary and capricious determination. The town's position that allowing the construction of a catering facility adjacent to the restaurant is by definition expansion of a pre-existing non-conforming use must be sustained if the town's own zoning laws are to have any meaning. The principal owners of the Jamesport Manor Inn, Matt and Gail Carr, are well-liked, highly respected members of the community and have donated generously to the North Fork Environmental Council. Regardless, it would be irresponsible of the North Fork Environmental Council not to support the town's intentions to appeal the court's decisions. Therefore, the NFEC does support the adoption of Resolution 139.
All right, I'm going to just give you, in the board, the town attorney's office has given me a legal memorandum and basically a case. The town board is required under case law from the New York Court of Appeals to provide counsel to the zoning board and the planning board. It is appropriate for us as a town board to adopt this Resolution 139 because it sends a clear message to our council that we support their efforts in this. In the event that we don't adopt this resolution, the zoning board and the planning board have their own counsel and will continue the appeal, and the town of Riverhead will pay for it because I have no choice. The town attorney has told me in a written legal opinion, and the case has been presented to me, and the town has the requirement to provide them with counsel. And the problem here is that we don't want to send mixed signals. I'm not asking anybody to weigh in on whether this is an appropriate, the merits of the appeal. The attorneys have spoken to us numerous times in executive session. I just want the board to understand that when we receive bills from our outside counsel for the zoning and planning board, they will be paid regardless of whether we adopt this. So we should provide a clear message, do the appeal and perfect it, and we will work to do what we have discussed in executive session. So I say that. I don't know. Does anybody else want to discuss resolutions?
Good evening. My name is Phil Barbado. I live on Manor Lane, not too far from the Manor Inn. And I'm quite relieved, Supervisor Walter, to hear what you've just had to say. I couldn't agree with you more that the town needs to be unified on this because this really does threaten our ability to govern ourselves. And we need to speak loud and clear with one voice. We have so far, and I think we should continue. I think that, I wanted to mention also one of my neighbors was here earlier, Joseph Hattayer. He had to go and pick up his wife who works the night shift. He asked me to mention his name and represent him also. as a resident of Manor Lane, I'm speaking, and I'm also a member of the Riverhead Neighborhood Preservation Coalition, which has a position on this, which you'll hear about. I think it's very important that we stand against this judgment, as it would, first of all, it would set a very bad precedent. The ideas in that judgment, as I read it, about pre-existing non-conforming use just go against everything I believe. This is a pre-existing non-conforming use that really shouldn't even be there in the first place, since it was allowed to lapse, but that's history. Now, to double it, triple it, or quadruple it in size would be a terrible travesty, and I think that's a bad idea. And if you think windmills make noise, you should live next to a catering hall. Second, I think it would take away from, like I said, the town's ability to determine its own land use future. This is our town, not Judge Cohalen's. Third, I think it would weaken the protection of the agricultural protection zone. How long will it be before another pre-existing non-conforming use, restaurant, whatever, within the agricultural protection zone wants to do the very same thing? And finally, I think it would reduce the quality of life and the property values for the surrounding neighbors, myself included. My business depends on purity of the area, purity of the soil, and a rural surrounding. I grow organic vegetables. People come there for quietude, and they come there for the purity of the place. And that would affect my property values.
Not quite sure. Quietude, is that like, what's the one, ginormous, my son uses?
I like that quietude.
We're writing that down.
It's ginormous quietude, you
I
might
like
say.
that quietude.
Okay.
Very good.
And as already been said more eloquently than I could by George, we need the town needs to defend its own rights here, and there've been very firm and very unambiguous decisions that have come out on the Manor Inn. First from the zoning board, which has dismissed this case, and also previous to that, the town board in the conditions that were placed on the special permit that was issued. That special permit did not allow any expansion outside. It allowed a 50% increase in seating, but no outside construction, no outside tents. This would be against the wishes of the town, and I think we should defend ourselves.
Thank you, sir.
You know what, I'd like to say something in response to your comments, in that when the zoning board gave them the permission to occupy the restaurant as a restaurant, the pre-existing use had expired. It had abandoned. So this property was zoned residential, and the zoning board in 2004 decided to allow a restaurant use. And, you know, it's very difficult up here to make decisions. I was prepared to vote no to appeal the application this evening. And now I'm told that there's a memorandum of law that has come from our town attorney that is citing actual case law that says that we must represent the Zoning Board of Appeals. And whether I vote yes or no, or whether we decide to appeal it or not, I mean, I don't even know why the resolution is in the packet. So now I will be abstaining.
The zoning board actually ruled that the owner had not intended to allow the use to lapse, which, as far as I can tell, is not in the law.
That doesn't matter. The use lapsed. The town board, in my opinion, should have sued the zoning board when they made that a restaurant use, once again, when it was residential.
Possibly. Thank you for your
Okay,
attention.
thank you.
Thank you.
Dominique.
They're taller than I am. Okay. Dominique Mendez, Wading River, Riverhead Neighborhood Preservation Coalition. I'd like to say a few words on the same issue. Judge Cohalen's ruling on the Jamesport Manor Inn case was a bad and even dangerous decision. Riverhead Planning's determination that a catering hall and a tent or expansion of a pre-existing non-conforming restaurant and could not be approved without a special permit was a logical determination based on zoning and town procedures. In contrast, the recent court ruling was based on the assertion that a catering hall is an incidental accessory use that does not change the basic nature of the property. So a large building to house private events that attracts hundreds of people to party at one time is not significantly different than a restaurant. I think many, many people would disagree, especially the immediate neighbors who will bear the brunt of the commercialization of their beautiful rural neighborhood and the taxpayers whose money paid to preserve the surrounding land on Manor Lane. Furthermore, although Judge Cohallen's decision actually acknowledged that the overriding goal of zoning is the eventual elimination of nonconforming uses, and that a court cannot substitute its judgment for that of any board by basically ordering the town to approve the site plan for a catering hall intent in the APZ zone off Manor Lane, he seems to have made a ruling that contradicts these basic zoning and law principles, the same ones he cites in his own ruling. If the town does not appeal this judgment, then it will be tantamount to sending out an invitation to any business with a restaurant to build a catering hall, even if it's smack dab in the middle of homes. And it will go a long way towards eroding the town's ability to enforce its own zoning. And I'm sure that's not what this board wants. And I urge and trust that you appeal this decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard? Okay, there. Oh.
Thank you, Sean. Good evening.
Good evening.
Frank Blangiardo.
No, you don't have to. This is just comments on resolutions.
But you can swear if you like, but just...
Don't swear at us.
I swear,
Still swear at us.
Frank Blangiardo, and I own 40 acres directly across the street from Matt Carr and his wife's restaurant. They were my neighbors down on Nassau Point for 18 years. They're lovely people. I enjoy them. They're hard workers. And I hate to see divisiveness between my neighbors. But Ms. Giglio, how are you? My name is Frank Blangiardo. I have a law firm on the North Fork for the last 20 years. And this judge is Peter Fox Cohallen. As Ms. Koskevich and Sean Walton know, we have to use his middle name, Fox, or else he extorts you as ushered out of the courtroom. I don't even believe he probably even read this decision, actually. It's probably done by his secretary, Dan Murphy. I'd bet dollars to donuts. I have some appeals that I'm working on right now. I do that type of work in the first department, where I'm from, the second department here on Long Island, and also I'm arguing one in the third department. So I'm very familiar with appeals, practicing almost 25 years now. And Ms. Giglio, because you mentioned you were going to abstain, before you did, I wanted to hear my comments. If you would just hold off on that abstention till you hear my comments. I agree with what's been said with my neighbors. However, I plunked down my life savings after you enlarged from 80 seats to 120 seats, and I thought that was top whack. They were done. And then I bought 40 acres across the street, and I preserved 37 and a half out of 40. I moved a barn, which has a zero carbon footprint. I took it from Greenport. Everybody said I was crazy. It's got a zero carbon footprint, and I have my commercial horse boarding operation. I'm very happy there. However, I relied on the town's decision to limit him to 120 seats. If I thought that he was going to have a Ferris wheel across the street from my farm, I would have I had other options. And as I say, the preservation was $4,750,000 to purchase the farm. And the town was great. They gave $88,000 an acre. I'm not telling any tales out of school. It's just good that people know what's going on, because hopefully other people will preserve farms. There's one immediately to the north that Charlie Cuddy's working on, that they're talking about a lot of development going to the south. That goes all the way to the main road. But I would love to see that.
Which farm is that?
There's a young fellow, he's about 80 years old, has a place that goes right up to the main road.
Okay.
Is that Chikanowitz?
I think Dave Stipe's family had sold it to a fellow, and there was a lot of litigation going on with that as well.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm sure you know that one. So, Ms. Giglio, I hate to point you out.
That's okay.
You see, here's a guy that came in with all the right intentions, and I preserved the farm, but I wouldn't have done it. You know, you allowed him to go from 80 to 120 seats, but you know, I'm out.
The thing that I have a problem with, and you being an appeal attorney and being familiar with the case law,
yes,
is that he went to the zoning board for a residential piece of property. It was residential. The use had already been abandoned for more than a year. It was residential. And he said, I want to, well, it's APZ, but residence is permitted, businesses are not. So he went and he said, let me ask you a question. How do you change from allowing a house to be permitted to having a restaurant?
Well,
Can you do it through any other way other than a use variance or a change of zone?
You have to have a variance.
A use variance.
Yes.
So that gave him the rights to use the property as a restaurant.
Right, just Joey,
Or-
he doesn't have a use
It is a
variance.
restaurant. It is a restaurant.
That's the only mechanism to get it changed.
No, he doesn't have a use variance.
Oh, he has a restaurant though.
But he has, you, anyway, so that's my predicament in that we have a business owner, a very successful business owner, that came to the zoning board and said, can I use this as a restaurant, knowing that catering is accessory to a restaurant. And the zoning board gave him the use of the restaurant. So he spends $800,000 buying the house. He spends another $800,000 in fixing the inn. With a restaurant, you can never, from what I can see for a business plan, get that money back.
Yeah, unless you put a tremendous big box in your backyard, and then you might be able to sell
Which
it
we
somewhere.
permit in the town of Riverhead with a restaurant.
He has another restaurant on the main road, based upon Judge Peter Fox Cohallen's decision, which I believe has a lot of interesting points, and I believe that there will, the law firm will be able to succeed on this appeal. Right.
Okay,
And
well,
the town.
that's your opinion.
That is my opinion.
Yes.
And I charge people for my opinion, and people ask me for my opinion letters, and they use them to get financing, et cetera.
The difference is here at the board, everybody gives us their opinion now. I'm
Right.
sorry.
So Mr.
I digress.
Carr, Mr. Carr has a restaurant an 8/10 of a mile away, right next to the town hall where we have meetings there as well. He could put he's got a big backyard with boats back there. He could put another, if you want to cite this decision, if you let it stand, he could put another catering hall on the main road, right behind the country kitchen.
If he
You're
had the
gonna
room
have-
for the setbacks and the parking, and he had the seating with the Suffolk County Department of Health Services based on the acreage, yes, you're right, he
So
could.
you think every restaurant, Ms. Giglio, whether it's even in the agricultural protection zone, if they have the parking and the setbacks, they should have a catering hall, if they'd like.
Yes, I do. I believe in property rights, absolutely.
Yes. Well, I believe, I believe in property rights too. I just don't believe everyone should be able to put catering halls in the agricultural protection zone.
Okay, well, I don't think that it ever should have been a restaurant. I think that the zoning board should have said, no, you can't have a restaurant here. It's zoned residential. The master plan just got changed 6 months ago that said that they wanted to see the site residential, and they gave them the restaurant use.
But like Mr. Dunleavy had mentioned earlier, there are people with little homes next to propellers that are 200 feet, making noise when they're trying to sleep. I bought 40 acres, invested my life savings based upon this town's expansion from 80 to 120 seats. That was after it was a restaurant. That was after his expansion was allowed. That was after he was granted a special permit. Otherwise, I don't put my money and I don't preserve 40 acres of your town. And
Our
people
town.
see yeah, but I'm from Southall town. So,
I understand what
could
you're saying.
preserve
I have not gotten any sleep for the last 2 weeks with this resolution in the
If you
packet.
want
I
to
have,
encourage preservation, you're going to have to back up the people that are willing to come in and plunk down their hard-earned life savings to preserve farms, because if they think that people are going to pop up Villa Lombardi next to their organic farm, like Biophilia, no one's going to do that.
I have
And
spoken
Judge
to.
Cohallen references Martha Clara, which is totally off the wall. And Judge Cohallen is in his waning years, believe it or not. And
Oh, well,
Yeah, but
let's not go down that road.
And I
been on
and
the bench for a long time. Peter Fox.
I have spoken to other judges. I have spoken to attorneys that represent ZBAs in other townships. I have spoken to a lot of people and done my homework in order to be able to make this decision tonight. I take this job very seriously. I don't believe in wasting taxpayers' money on litigation that I don't think will have a positive outcome for the town. And I believe that Mr. Carr has a wonderful business, as you've stated, with the restaurant, and he buys everything locally. And I don't think that he would have invested all of that money into the restaurant from what he has said to me before I took office, that he would not have spent all that money if he had never intended to have catering, and catering was always a part of every application that he has ever submitted to the town.
Okay.
So I
think
take it you're
we've-
going to vote then, you're not going to abstain then if you, since you said
We'll
that you...
see.
Okay,
No,
I think we've played up all the
I want to see this
points.
memorandum of law that
Can
says
we
that I
move-
have to protect the
Thank
zoning
you very
board.
much.
Can we move to the
Section
next?
65.
Mr. Blangiaro, thank you very much for
Thank you.
speaking. Would anybody else like to speak on the resolutions? Nobody getting up? Let's take up the resolutions. Diane?
Resolution 105.
Department of Justice JAB Youth Grant Budget Adoption. So moved.
And I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 106.
Resolution for a budget adoption, map 600-11.21, 181 and 182, 183, 184, 185, 186, 187, and 188, chapter 54. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 107.
Sewer district equipment budget adjustment. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
This is for a much-needed backhoe over at the sewer district, so I vote yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes, I said we were gonna start making budget adjustments, and we are. I vote yes.
That was a backhoe that
That's
blew
it.
up.
I know.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
We didn't give
Resolution
anybody
108.
contingency money.
Riverhead Water Extension number 89 at Calverton, Navy Grant budget adoption. So moved?
And seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 109.
Appoints temporary secretary to the Board of Assessment Review. So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes, this is needed for, our taxes.
Tax assessor grievance period.
Yes, the grievance.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 110.
110 authorizes the filing of an application for the New York State Assistance from the Household Hazardous Waste State Assistance Program and signing of the associated state contract under the appropriate laws of New York State. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 111.
Supports and endorses pursuit of funding for downtown ice rink facility. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
This is funding, we're looking for some grant money for the synthetic ice rink that we're looking to put downtown. So I vote yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 112.
Resolution calling public hearing regarding increase and improvement to the facilities of the Riverhead Water District, well number 16-1. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
On this one, we now have a capacity of 1,380 gallons per minute, and we're looking to upgrade it possibly as high as 2,100 gallons per minute, and it's like a 50% increase in volume, so it's definitely something that we will need down the road, so I vote yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 113.
Awards bid for street light and traffic signal maintenance repair parts. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
We gotta find the end. Oh, there. Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 114.
Awards the bid for the Chapter 54 demolition of unsafe structure located at the Knolls of Bating Hollow, 1411, 1311, 1211, 1111, 1410, 1310, 1210, and 1100 Bluff Drive, Bating Hollow, New York. So moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 115.
Authorize town clerk to publish and post notice to bidders, annual materials and asphalt procurement contract. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 116.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post the attached notice to bidders for 2011 annual construction contract. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 117.
Authorize town clerk to publish and post notice to bidders for the entrance to Calverton Enterprise Park Recreation Facility. So move.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
This is for the park out in Epcal. We're going to have the striping done on Route 25, and we're going to have the east and west entrances done. So, yes.
Wooten.
Sorely needed, yes.
Dunleavy.
And it's about time. Yes.
Walter.
Better get her open, yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 118.
118 authorizes the town clerk to publish and post the attached notice to bidders for the 500-gallon above-ground oil tank installation and a 1,000-gallon underground oil tank removal located at the Henry Pfeiffer Community Center in Calverton. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 119.
Authorize town clerk to publish and post the attached notice to bidders for the irrigation systems maintenance contract. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 120.
Authorizes the town clerk to publish and post the attached notice to bidders for the Stotsky Park multipurpose field project. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Nice work, George, yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 121.
Amends 2011 salary resolution. So move.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 122.
Jim, I think we were talked about tabling this.
And 122 calls for a part-time animal control to be hired tonight. I'd like to move to table this in light of some other actions that might be taking place this week. So can I move the table?
Okay, and second the table.
Moved and seconded as the table.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
The resolution has been tabled. Resolution 123.
Terminates employment of a temporary employee. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
We're going to sorely miss her. She did an excellent job when she was here.
Yes.
So, yes.
Wooten.
Yes, this is the town board liaison that filled in while Donna Zletniski was out. Linda Holt, she did a great job, and she will be missed. So, yes.
Dunleavy.
I feel the same way as Councilman Wooten. She did a great job as our coordinator, and she will be missed. I vote yes.
Walter.
Couldn't we used a better title than terminates?
I know, that's breaking my heart.
She did a great job.
Well, you're right.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 124.
Reinstates an employee to active status. So moved.
John.
Oh, so move. Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
And welcome back to Donna. Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes, this is why we had to terminate the other one, because Donna was coming back. So, yes.
Nice work.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 125.
Appoints a call-in personnel for Riverhead Youth Bureau Recreation Department. So move.
Moved and I'm sorry.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 126.
Appoints a call-in recreational supervisor to the Recreation Department. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 127.
I think, Jody, do you?
I want to make a motion to table this resolution.
Which one?
127. So.
We've got to
You
find
make a
out some
motion?
more information.
Okay, and I'll second the motion to table.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
We've got to make some
Uh,
determinations of title and stuff.
Yes.
It's not a,
Uh,
Dunleavy,
Yes.
Walter.
yes.
Resolution has been tabled. Resolution 128.
Awards bid for disposal of Town of Riverhead municipal solid waste. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 129.
Awards bid for removal of household hazardous material. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 130.
I'd like to withdraw this one. Jim Saladino has withdrawn his name. Do we
Good.
need a motion to withdraw it?
Make a motion.
I make a motion to withdraw 130.
I second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
The resolution is withdrawn. Resolution 131.
Authorize the supervisor to execute a license agreement with East End Oasis to allow the installation of floating upwella systems, FLUPC, in East Creek. This was John's.
Yeah, we wanted to give it
We
to
want
John.
John out of this one. Doggone. So moved.
Want to second it, John? I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 132.
Amends the terms of resolution number 29. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Just read this. Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 133.
Authorize the supervisor to execute a license agreement with Broadcast Music Incorporated, BMI. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 134.
This authorizes the supervisor to execute an agreement. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded,
Very
vote
nice.
please.
Very nice music.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 135.
Resolution authorizing supervisor to enter into and execute an agreement to amend terms and conditions of employment for all non-contract department heads, management, and such other employees not provided under CSCA, PBA, and SOA contracts as amended. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded as amended,
Giglio.
please.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
No.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 136.
Resolution authorizing supervisor to enter into and execute an amendment to the employment contracts for such department heads, management, and such other employees with employment contracts whom are not provided under CSEA, PBA, and SOA contracts as amended. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
And I would just like to thank all of our department heads and all of our non-union employees that did give back, as all of us have, and thank them all for taking in the spirit of this tough economy and giving back, because we know it hits your wallet too, so thank you, and yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
No.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 137.
Authorize the release of cash security for Splish Splash Adventure Land Incorporated. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 138.
Awards bid for project number 1003, interim and permanent treatment at the well number 17-1, contract G, general and mechanical construction, contract E, electrical construction at the Riverhead Water District. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 139.
Authorize the law firm of Smith, Finkelstein, Lundberg, Eisler, and Yakubowski LLP to act as special counsel, and authorizes the supervisor to execute a retainer agreement. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Abstain.
Gabrielson.
I recuse myself.
Wooten.
I did read the case law on this. It's section 65 of the town code, which actually we have a duty as a town board to support not only our zoning that we put in place, but our zoning board of appeals and decisions that they make. Politics and personalities aside and wanting to make people whole in the community, but the bottom line is that those that live here really have to live by the zones that we put in place. If we don't like it, we change the zones. We don't
That's what we
make
did.
amends. So I am going to vote yes to the appeal.
Dunleavy.
I was torn with this one, and after speaking to numerous people and our ZBA council, if we voted this down, he would just take up the cause for the ZBA. It would cost us more money. I was trying to save the taxpayers money by negotiating, but it would cost us more money because he hasn't been with this case all along as this firm has. So he would have had to go back and do research and all this stuff, so it would have cost us more money to vote this resolution down. So, for the taxpayer, I'm for his saving the taxpayer money. So I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 140.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post a public notice to consider a local law to amend Chapter 37 entitled Retirement of the Riverhead Town Code. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes, this is, again, to save money if we get some people retired.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 141.
Authorize town clerk to publish and post a public notice to consider a local law to amend Chapter 37 entitled Retirement of Rivertown Code, Article 3. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes, and again for the same reason as the last one.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Before we
Resolution
go on,
one.
I just,
Oh, sorry.
quick explanation, there's three of these, one is for the department heads, one is for the CSEA, and one is for the PBA, so we have to do them separately. We tried to combine them, but
That's why it's Article
found
2,
out
3, and 4.
separate is the way we have to do it, so that's why there's three in a row.
Okay. Resolution 142.
They never offered this when I was a policeman. Authorizes town clerk to publish and post a public notice to consider a local law to amend Chapter 37 entitled Retirement of the Riverhead Town Code, Article 4, which deals with the PBA. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Again, for the same two reasons, yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 143.
Authorize town clerk to publish and post requests for bids for the troubleshooting, maintenance, and repair of BAF Honeywell equipment for the Riverhead Water District. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 144.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post requests for bids for troubleshooting, maintenance, and repair of Foxborough equipment for the Riverhead Water District. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 145.
Authorizes the town clerk to publish and post requests for bids for PLC troubleshooting, maintenance, and repair for the Riverhead Water District. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 146.
I don't know. Authorizes town clerk to publish and post requests for bids for PLC programming integration for the Riverhead Water District. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 147.
Right, before we take this up, I'm not going to amend this, but we had a meeting with a group that wants to put on a Mardi Gras this summer,
Fun.
and it's moving very quickly. And
What a
the
blast.
yeah, it's going to be pretty neat. And it's
They got the prices tonight.
the prices came in. The bid boards probably, we have to adopt this so the bid can move forward with what they have. But I don't really want to steal the bid's thunder, but I'm going to. We may have do something along those lines of Mardi Gras this July or when they pick the date. So it should be exciting. It'll be a nice big festival. So that's going to possibly
It's
change
not
this.
reflected in this budget,
It's
is that what
not,
you're saying?
because this stuff happened Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week, Monday, Tuesday of this week.
Well, they can save money on cruise nights, so they'll probably be all right.
Okay, we
All
ready?
right. Yep.
Okay. Authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with the Riverhead Business Improvement District Management Association, Inc. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
I gotta say one thing, you gotta love this new bid we have, they're great, yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
I'm going to vote yes for this, but I still, the Lions Club has been putting on a parade downtown for the last 60 years, and the bid has never contributed to it. And I think that they're building a Santa's house for $10,000 and holiday bonfire for $2,000. That's $12,000. At least they could give something to the Lions Club for their parade. They do on the first Sunday of every December. I'm just upset, but I'm voting yes for the other projects.
Walter.
Yes, and I could see shifting some of the Santa House money, and I'm with you. We'd like to combine, I don't want to say combine, we'd like to give reverence to the Lions Club and the bid Santa bonfire.
Actually, it'd be a good event if we could do them both. but you'd
Yeah,
have to-
there you go.
You'd have to move yours down to the second Sunday of the
Did I vote yes?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 148.
Pay bills.
Second.
Jody, you have to offer it.
You gotta offer up.
Pays bills.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Okay, now we open the public portion up to anything on your mind. We ask you to limit it to 5 minutes if you can. And please step up.
I'm Helga Gussie from Wading River. Tonight, actually representing the Community Advisory Council at Brookhaven Lab. This is in regard to that woman that spoke about all the pollution, and she was worried about the community garden being polluted from the Conic River. When our Community Advisory Council heard some of the information and also some of the lab personnel, they asked me to come and speak to the town board and to whatever
Well,
residents.
Ms. Guthrie, next time in the future, because you are our representative, just ask us in the beginning. I won't make you wait. You can give that report when we do our reports.
Okay, well, I officially.
She's the representative of Wading River Civic.
I thought she was our representative.
You're
We'll
right.
still move you up. We won't hold that against you.
Yeah, because Bob Conklin represented Riverhead Town.
That's
before he
correct.
passed away. So that was another thing. They had actually asked me to see if you would have anyone else in mind.
Actually, I thought that we talked about having you do it, so. Go ahead, I'm
Well,
sorry. I digress. Hey, watch it there, Wooten.
Well, like I said,
a
I
report.
appreciate the opportunity to come here tonight, but I do want to clarify the fact that there has never been pollution this far, you know, into Wading River, into Riverhead Town. And that they wanted me to invite everybody, because these Community Advisory Council meetings are open to the public. They have a chance to ask questions and speak. If they're worried about any conditions, they're certainly welcome to come. They're held the second Thursday of every month at 6:30 at Berkner Hall. All they need is their driver's license and tell them where they're going, and they're welcome to come. Also, the bnl.gov website has an awful lot of information. The lab has done so much over the past 10 years to get rid of whatever pollution they had. They're probably the cleanest place on Long Island right now. So, you know, I hate to see anybody either worry or deliberately try to blacken their name again, because they have gone out of their way to get us experts to come when we didn't believe what they said. They had brought in other people to our meetings and really done more than you would think that they would need to do to make sure that we know what's going on over there. And they've been, I think, very forthcoming with everything.
Actually, I have to believe on March 4th, they have a State of the Lab address they're gonna do on March 4th. It's a breakfast in the morning, I think I'm gonna
Oh,
go.
well, yeah, okay.
It's gonna be a great time.
So anyway, I just wanted to say that, to please, you know, anybody that has any concerns, you know, to really contact the lab or come to one of our meetings.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Who's this guy?
Sid Bale, First Vice President of the Wading River Civic Association. At the last town board meeting, a group of us presented a letter to the supervisor and members of the town board concerning pending commercial development in Wading River along Route 25A through Western Sound Avenue corridor. Just want to briefly, for those of you in the audience who haven't seen the letter, just a very, very short excerpt, and then I have a quick question. The town board has the authority pursuant to New York State Municipal Home Rule to enact a short-term moratorium on the Wading River Route 25A corridor, stretching up Sound Avenue to Holt's Landing, while a GEIS is undertaken. This would ensure that all proposed projects, in addition to potential commercial retail projects, are examined for consistency with the adopted comprehensive plan, while taking into account any changes that have impacted the area after the adoption of the comprehensive plan. Our chief concern remains the potential impacts on traffic and safety, the proposed project's conformance with the town code and the adopted comprehensive plan, the question of need for additional commercial development, the addition of public input in the review process, and the preservation of the rural character and appeal of the area. In the discussion of it, the supervisor expressed some sympathy with the position in the letter, but you raised some concerns. And one of these things was the idea, if a moratorium were to be enacted, that it might be overturned by a judge, et cetera. And there was a few other things that you had raised. And I believe you were going to ask the town attorney for an opinion.
We found out a couple things. One, the Zumas project is going to be captured into the Pine Barrens Commission. So that project, as it looks right now, is not probably going to look the same, I would suspect, when they deal with the 35% clearing standards and everything else. The Vento is also captured in the Pine Barrens Commission. So neither one of those, both of those projects are going to have to be, we referred the Zumas project to the commission, and the Vento, I don't believe it's been filed yet. Has it been filed, Rick? No, it's not. That will go to the Pine Barrens Commission, so anything that you might have seen in the past is not going to be the way the projects come out.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I realized that there would be some adjustment. There had already been some adjustment to the Zumas project. And he talked about it was slightly smaller than the first discussion of it. But what we were concerned about is the cumulative impacts, the issue of the cumulative impacts. Like, for instance, I asked the question, like, how much additional commercial space is along that corridor?
Here's the fundamental problem here. We adopted a master plan in 2003. Right. We implemented the master plan in 04, 05, and in some cases as late as 06. Right. It is difficult for me, not conservative philosophically, right, or Democrat philosophically, but philosophically, we said this is what you can construct. We as a community decided this is what you can construct. Now, my opinion of what may have been adopted as a master plan and what the administration afterwards actually adopted in zoning may not mirror each other. But the problem is that they're not that dissimilar. But we as a community said this is what we want. We did a generic environmental impact statement. We adopted a final impact statement based on this zoning, and it's hard to turn around and say, let's throw a moratorium. Even the previous supervisor said that, well, the master plan should be good for at least 10 years.
I think he said 5.
What's that?
5.
No, I think he said 10.
10.
I think he said 10.
Well.
But we're only 5 years into this, so I don't know that there's going to be support of the town board to adopt a moratorium. And then I return to the question that I asked you: what zoning works?
One that I don't think destination retail was envisioned.
With the Kenny Barrow piece,
right?
Correct.
I don't think that was envisioned at all. The Zumas parcel, there was a different zone recommended in 2003. There are additional parcels, significant parcels in that corridor that are potentially could be developed. Is there another 100,000 square foot of commercial development? Another 200,000 square foot of commercial development? It seems like it's insanity not to take a look at it.
But I'm going to say it. The community got what it asked for.
No, we didn't. No, we
Yeah, it said it did. It did. It absolutely did.
No.
We had a master plan process.
We asked for the Barra project.
You asked for the zoning you got. You had a master plan that called for specific zoning. You participated in the process.
Yes, I did.
And then zoning was adopted. Maybe some of us think it didn't quite reflect the intent of the master plan, but the zoning, you participated in that process. It's not a surprise to anybody. And what my biggest fear is that, okay, we institute a moratorium, or we don't allow these people to construct for whatever reason, and we wind up with Kenny Barra Sound and Park, where the court comes in and says, here it is. Or we wind up with the Manor Inn with a judge. You could get Peter Fox Cohallen, and he says, you know what, town, you guys are getting out of control here. I don't want to hear it anymore. Here it is, you do it now. That's a very real problem to this town right now.
If you adopted a short-term moratorium, how many short-term moratoriums have been overturned in the town of
But what's
Reading?
the end result of the short-term moratorium? We'd have to adopt another comprehensive plan. We'd have to do a Hamlet study. That's what you're asking, to do a Hamlet study on top of something we did 6 years ago.
Actually, it was 8 years ago.
And it was also,
adopted
that
6, 7
particular
years
piece
ago.
of property, the
November
Barrow piece,
2003.
it could have been a highway yard. And you know what, we could really use a highway yard right there, right now. Would that have been a better alternative than what's being proposed, a highway yard?
Well-
Because that's what it was zoned for.
I'm just saying is, just picture this corridor as it builds out.
I expressed my dissatisfaction, which the news review reported, with the master plan. I'm trying to figure out, it's not enough to say moratorium. You as a community, and it's not, we don't have the money to spend $100,000 on another master plan. So you as a community are going to have to come back and say, we think that this is the zoning that works, and we haven't seen that. We just can't say no, because, it's not rocket science. It's not even as complicated as what we're trying to do in EPCAL. In fact, it's much less complicated, because you really have the whole zoning code, and you can go through and say, you know what, antique shopping centers, antique stores, I might have been a little off the cuff with that one in Aquabog and Jamesport, but you as a community might want to come back and say, these are the things that we think might work. I don't know, but to put a master plan, a moratorium in effect, we have to have then the wherewithal and the votes on the board to do another Hamlet study. I mean, that's what the end result is. But there's another way around. There are other ways to deal with it. Pine Barrens Commission is a way to deal with it. I did ask the town attorney, it's not in writing, but I will share it with you. I did ask the town attorney if I, as the supervisor, or we as a town board have jurisdiction to declare lead agency on this, and we really don't. There is one little glimmer of hope here, and if the opportunity arises, I will ask the board to exert lead agency over all the projects. But that little thing hasn't happened yet. And if it does, I'm going to ask the board, and then an impact statement for all of those projects will be looked at.
And Sid, I can tell you this, I reached out to our planning director. I still have yet to get the information I needed, because I realized the study, and the Hamlet study that was done in the original master plan, at least the draft, had a little different vision than the adopted one did. And I'm still looking for the justification for the few parcels that were altered to be justified, at least through some sort of open meeting notes or something. And he says that he has those on record, so I want to get those to find out. But I think that's really where the problem lies, is I think the vision got changed somehow, and people weren't aware of it. That's what I really think the rub is. So,
Well, I think
we're looking into. I'm looking into.
I think when you do these studies, everybody's at the time says this is okay, and you were there.
Yes, I was.
The supervisor was there, and I think Bob was there.
Right.
The 3 years that are here tonight were there.
Right.
Actually, John,
Out of
that's
the other
really-
members.
That's really not accurate.
See?
You sound like Phil Cardinale at this point.
No,
I was a deputy town attorney.
Well, you
I
were
had
there. I'm
nothing
just,
to do
I'm
with the
just
master
saying.
plan.
You were there. You were there.
You were there. You were probably, like
You were
this guy.
sitting
Yeah,
right
I
where
sat
he
right
is.
there because they had
So, but I didn't say you had anything to do with it. I just said you were there.
Right.
That's all I said. So don't lead in any information that you don't want to give out, and don't comment unless I ask you. It's my turn to comment. Okay? You may be supervisor, but it's my comment time. And I think what happens is that everybody says, okay, this is good, until someone starts building, and then says, oh, maybe we shouldn't have done this, because now it's going to mess. And these things happen. What we have to do is think of how we can correct it so it doesn't happen in the future, and make things, because this town is getting larger, it is getting built out more and more. So these are the things that we have to look at and see if we can correct some of the mistakes that might have been made.
One of the things is another factor. If Wading River was anticipated to grow the way it grew in the 70s, 80s, 90s, all right, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think you're going to have the kind of population growth that you had, et cetera. So we're filling up all these commercial spaces, and the purpose and intent of the business CR district was to serve local needs, the local community. It wasn't to become a destination retail center. And fortunately, unlike a lot of other communities, and even these really hard times, there are few vacancies along 25A. But how many bank pads do you really need in a community? All right. How many pizza parlors do you really need in a community?
And
Right.
that's my question to you, because I would tend to agree with you that Kenny Barris looks more like a destination retail. Okay, so here's your options. You can let him do it, and he does it in a way that he did the East Wind, in a very nice way, with only access to 25A, and apparently there's one that I am going to go look at in Jericho, and it's not going to be pizza places, and it's not going to be liquor stores, and it's not going to be bank pads, because the alternative could be, under Business CR, I'm just saying, 12 strip mall, pizza place, banks pad, and that's terrible. And then, but the alternative is, if you follow Dominique's logic in the master plan that didn't get adopted by the 2004 town board, you're really winding up with a mix of residential and apartments. And I'm going to be quite frank with you, I doubt that the community of Wading River wants an apartment complex there. So you still haven't given us any options, because that's really what was called for on that. Either apartments or or campus style, but it was apartments and office, retail, that type of thing.
That was the zone, yes.
And is that what you want? Do you want apartments there? I'll tell you, I would be hard pressed to think that they would want that, the community.
Well, we're going to keep working on this. And
I am
keep
too.
coming back because however we got here, it's a sorry state of affairs.
Well, we got
And,
there because we as a community, and I'll be the first one to admit, as a community member, I was busy keeping my head down working in the town attorney's office, and I, as a community member, did not really pay much attention to the master plan. And then when I was in the town attorney's office and it was adopted, I really didn't pay much attention to it because I was busy buying farm fields. I don't like it. I don't like it. There's huge sections of the master plan, and the Democrats can come out and harass me all they want about undoing the master plan. And you're right, Sid. Give me the way to do this. I'll ask the board for a Hamlet study, but I need more than, well, we don't want this. Then I need to know, what do you think you want? That if I put that zoning in effect, that we don't lose it lock, stock, and barrel. And Peter Fox Cohalan says, here you go.
Still has to make sense, though, Sean.
Right, well, but we need something more than just, we don't like
Some
this.
of it makes no sense.
Okay.
Oh, I know, but
Yes, go on, I'm sorry.
But even if we did do what you're suggesting, which is a Hamlet study, these people are so far along in the process. I mean, do you think that we would get sued and have to spend money on litigation because the property was zoned for something and they applied for it and they put an investment into it? Again? Because one of them is a result of a lawsuit that we lost already.
Right.
She has it right. We will be sued if this happens, if we took any action as far as rezoning it now. There's no doubt in my mind. And we've already lost one or two. Well, actually, we lost, I think, three that this happened to. So we're in the ballpark of where are we going?
Too. We talked about this in the post office the other day.
Yes.
And you came up with an excellent suggestion, and that is something that I think we can do, is take a look at all the larger vacant parcels and see what the potential build-out of those could possibly be with the current zoning. So I thought that was an excellent suggestion. But as far as what's on the table now, I think we're just setting ourselves up for a lawsuit and, wasting taxpayer
So you're not
dollars.
concerned about the cumulative impacts?
It's not my making.
Yeah.
Okay, do I agree with it? Do I think that it's perfect the way it's laid out? No. But you know what? People bought the property and they designed projects for the property based on what the zoning is.
And the cumulative impacts, you may not want to hear it. Residents of the Wading River may not want to hear it. But the cumulative impacts of those proposals were, in theory, identified and studied in the GEIS. Dominic,
Some of them
it's
were.
absolutely true,
Some of them
except for the ones that were done through litigation.
Right.
And so the question becomes for the board, do you go down the road, start litigation again, and what do I pass on to the next board? Exactly what we're receiving, a bunch of cases that keep failing and failing, and judges handing us things that we don't like. I don't know.
All right.
I'm still confident that things are going to happen in the Pine Barrens Commission that are going to be a little bit more palatable to the community.
Thank you.
Hello, Dominique Mendez, Riverhead Neighborhood Preservation Coalition. So you said that the impacts have already been studied, but the impacts of Nightland project certainly haven't been studied because that was 5 or 6 separate parcels. Originally, until the last couple of months, it was not zoned for even to allow retail, and the proposal itself, as you kind of admit at this point, people are starting to see, is destination retail. So that certainly wasn't studied.
But is that wrong? That's my question,
Yes,
Dominic.
of course.
So would you rather have them assemble it? Because in theory, you don't have to talk about assembling the lots. When you do the generic impact statement, it looks at the lots in total. It looks at the zoning in total. It doesn't look at one individual lot. It looks at them in total. So if you take away the Nightland project, where you might have something that's kind of neat, that's, yes, maybe it is a destination,
Which
but
means
it's not
brings
going
in
to be,
tourists
but
and-
it's not going to be a pizza place, a bank pad, a delicatessen, because that's what you're asking for. If you don't do this project, he's already assembled the lots, he has the zoning. Do you want a pizza place, a bank pad? Because that's his right. What's better?
Well, you do a study, and what I'm saying is that wasn't envisioned. The Zumas property wasn't envisioned. In fact, by Lewins, all the picking and the change in the traffic there, that's new. They've expanded their business. That wasn't envisioned. A catering hall
That's not
right
new.
across in a residential area, which doesn't even meet the zone, that wasn't envisioned. That would share basically an entrance.
But go ahead.
Yeah, I know all restaurants should have catering halls. I understand that position.
can.
I don't agree with it.
They can for our zoning code.
I'm working on, there is a theory of which we could exert jurisdiction. There is a theory under whether we could exert jurisdiction. And we will, if that comes to pass, I think the board will.
We tried to get the planning board to do an impact study, and that they refused. They voted down for traffic and all that stuff, so.
And that's why
we
we're
have,
asking.
we up here have nothing to do other than zoning. We have nothing to do for this project. It's the planning board's project, so all we can do is zoning, but we just can't change the zoning in midstream.
Well, you can put a hold and study the project, and we can't really suggest, if you don't think that you could put a moratorium because it could result in rezoning that would be challenged, I'm not sure how it makes sense for us to make the suggestions for zoning without the benefit of a
No, I
study
want to know what
that you would adopt.
We spent a long time studying this. Your
10 years
community that
ago,
you live
yes.
in was part of this.
Mhm.
They got what they asked for. You may not agree with it now, but you got what you got.
didn't-
Everybody was up front. Nobody did anything underhanded. Maybe the Zumas, not the Zumas, maybe the Barra piece didn't get the right zoning, and then maybe not, because I'm gonna tell you, I can read that paragraph 2 different ways. And you may not think that's the case, but you can read it in 2 different ways. And if the one thing you need to understand, and you don't think you want to understand this, it's construed against the writer. So if that is unclear to a judge, and we stop Mr. Barra, and the paragraph is unclear, it will be construed against the town in favor of Mr. Barra. That's the way the law is. So you just can't go in there and turn around and say.
That was so poorly edited that I'm not so sure about that.
It's construed against the writer. It's construed against the draftsperson, period. That's the law.
I wonder who wrote the sentence.
So I mean.
That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Dominique.
Okay, thank you very much.
But, yes, Councilman Bartnick, would you like to come join us up here now?
You want to make it 6, huh? George Bartnick, Calverton. I want to take this opportunity to kind of address something that is something that I proposed when I was on the town board, and that's the rec path around the perimeter of EPCAL. And I find it kind of interesting, Resolution 111, which is looking for funding for an ice rink facility downtown. Did John fill everybody in on the?
I've been pushing for this for 2 years, and this town board or the other town board will not finish that bike path.
Well,
they won't even get it so people can, it's been there, we can't get it connected so people can ride that bike to
the point
to
is,
the end and back again.
Well,
does this town
So-
board know?
Well, this is downtown revitalization grant, so I don't think
Jill,
this is.
do you have some information on this?
Does this town board?
Right. This is
You know you had the money.
I got the money.
You had the money for
And
the
they
ice
didn't
rink.
spend it, they cut it in half because the town board wouldn't take any action on
That was
it. I was
before
the
me,
one who
though.
got the money.
Prior to me, thank you.
And they wouldn't take any action because, I'm not saying because I'm John Dunley, it's because they just didn't want to take any action.
So
I
And
think it's a
pushed
great
it,
idea,
and I
too.
pushed it,
And-
but
and
when
you get-
other people on this town board want something, they get it done right away.
If you get the grant money, And if it doesn't happen again, maybe Senator Laval will dedicate it to finish the rec path at EPCAL.
Oh, that'd be great.
You've got 3+ miles of beautiful asphalt, 8-foot
Right,
wide
yep.
paving there.
You're right.
It goes nowhere.
Yep.
John, you're right.
You're right.
I mean,
George.
when you
Right.
start the environmental study, Sean, when you
But
start
you have
the-
to have a little
you-
more impact than I do on this town board.
I don't think, Sean, that you have to wait 2 years until your environmental
I
study
don't think
is
so
done.
either.
Huh?
I don't think so either.
Because it's not going to be part of the
Maybe-
land. It's going to be
maybe
sold
they'll listen
for
to you,
development.
George.
I think it's a great idea. I'd like to see that path come all the way down River Road and all the way down to 25, and then 25 all the way into downtown Riverhead along the Wild Scenic Recreational
You
Rivers.
go, girl.
And then all the way into Jamesport to connect to that sidewalk, that little patch. We're going to get New York State DOT on board with us and take it all the way down
Honestly,
25.
I think it's more likely, given the environment right now, the economic environment, it's more likely you're going to get funds from the DOT to
Yep.
finish this and connect from 25A,
Yep.
at least to Grumman Boulevard or River Road, than to get it'd be great to have a nice
George,
ride
I can't
downtown.
even get the
Yeah.
DOT to approve the last payments on the rail spur.
We're going to do it. Right, John?
George, the good news tonight is we passed a resolution
one's
opening
on
the
board,
gates,
too.
so now you can get in and use what's there.
Town board.
We
What's
talked about that, we
Well,
just
the
passed a
gates have
resolution.
been open, but I mean, it's.
No, well, that gate has been open, I mean, the access to come in now, you've got access to the bike.
Yeah, well, I went around the gates.
No,
I-
but the-
I got a lot of scratched up and I got a lot of ticks going
Okay,
around those
the Joe
gates.
public will be now, can get in there, so.
That's a big stretch to have access to the bike path from where they want to put the
George,
opening.
we'll get it open. It's something
Yes,
that's going
it's
to be
part of it.
discussed on Friday.
But also, George, these grants they're going for is downtown grants, they're not bike
I
path.
know.
Okay.
You know, George is worried about using the bike path. You still haven't opened up the gate east of the incubator.
That's why the bike path
That
looks
gate
so
is
nice.
still locked.
That's still, I know that.
You can't
Nobody wants to
access-
open it.
I think it's open now, isn't it?
No, it's still locked. Nobody wants to open it.
Okay, thank you.
John,
Does anybody
try
else
4
want
years
to be
ago,
heard
but
tonight?
it doesn't-
There being nobody, can I get a motion to
Seriously.
adjourn?
I want to go home.
How about a motion to
I make
adjourn?
a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We're entertaining, though, aren't we? We're entertaining. Right?